Okay, so just picked up the X50. Hey, Abang Hisham. Oh, you pun mari angkat X50 eh?
Kan bagi tahu sama.
Rita dia kesibukan lah, so saya pun dihantar abang sana tu untuk memberi kunci kepada saya. You angkat unit mana, bro?
Tak tahu.
Okay, hey bro, say hi to the camera, bro.
Jumpa lagi.
Jumpa lagi Abang Hisham dari Roda Pusing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Enjoy.
Okay, thank you. So just picking up the X50 here, let me just let in some light. Wow, the switchgear quality feels very good. Okay, let me just take my mask out. Switchgear quality feels good. Okay, well, previously, of course, we have done the walk around of this car during the pre-launch preview event. We have driven this car in Sepang. So in this video, I will be exploring, the usage of this car on a day-to-day basis. So this is my phone. Got good compartments here to put in. Okay, you got this tray here that fits nicely. All right, and this one actually, right, this slot here, I can drop the phone here nice, but because of this lid, can't. So if you have a shorter phone than a Samsung Note 20, this is a good place to slot your phone in also. All right, and there's also this tray under here. There's another tray which I can drop the phone, and that is where they put the USB cables there. Speaking of which, I need to go home and pick up my charging cable because my phone's out of battery. Alright, so shall reverse and let you see a bit more light in the cabin. You got reverse and 360-degree camera. So the variant that I'm testing here, as with every other media, is the range-topping flagship variant, priced at 103,000 ringgit. So as of now, Proton only has the flagship variant on offer to review. All right, so we'll need to find some other ways to get our hands on the executive or premium or standard variants, because see, the thing is, with the X50, Proton made the decision to offer a selection of two engines. All right, the flagship here gets well, both of them are 1.5 liter 3-cylinder engines, but the difference is that the flagship variant here gets a direct injection variant. All right, that produces 177 PS and 255 Newton meters of torque. Okay, actually I'm going to use the Gesas instead. All right, whereas the other variants, the standard, executive and premium, they get a port injection engine. All right, same 3-cylinder block, but so it naturally makes slightly less power. 150 PS, 222 Newton meters of torque. So it's still decent outputs, but the thing is, we don't have that opportunity to experience that engine yet. So well, just take a bit of a U-turn. Now I'm going on to Gesas Highway. All right. Just going to gun it. Oh wow, the acceleration is quite intense. I mean, I was really, despite knowing the outputs of this engine, I was genuinely surprised by the acceleration on offer. Past 2000 RPM, there is a strong punch of torque, right, that really pulls this car along. So I've deliberately turned back to use the Gesas Highway just to experience its highway performance. So the point and shoot acceleration of this car is impressive, and what it means is that, let's say, like when you are driving in a crowded space, you see that gap. All right, you have that acceleration and response to immediately gun it and exploit the available and and entered the available space. Alright. But the main question when it comes to that I always ask when it comes to small capacity 3-cylinder engines, alright, that you can boost it, how does it perform on highways? So right now I'm doing 90 kilometers per hour. Transmission is, I'm going to bring it back down to, so that transmission is in 5th gear, 7th gear, and we are ticking along at about 1008 RPMs, well below 2000 RPMs. 100 kilometers per hour, still below 2000 RPMs on the tachometer. So I mean, if you are content to just cruise along at the national speed limit, alright, it's perfectly fine here. I've got a bit of an opening here that I can bring it up to 110 kilometers per hour, and I'm just over 2000 RPM, and the overall noise levels feel perfectly acceptable. There's a bit of wind noise coming from the A pillar, unavoidable because of its SUV profile, right? But not enough to intrude on your conversation. But more importantly, I'm barely picking up any noise coming from the engine bay. So this is a car, right, on long distance drive, you can cruise along 110 kilometers per hour all day, engine ticking about 2000 plus RPMs, and it is a perfectly acceptable long distance cruiser. So now traffic jam conditions, and this is actually, I think, perhaps the bigger test of the engine and transmission combo, because as we all know, DCTs, there will be that inevitable low speed judder in this kind of conditions. All right, it's just a question of how well do the car manufacturers mitigate it. So, but I have to say that here in this example, the 7-speed wet clutch transmission used paired with the 1.5 turbo engine, the creeping behavior of this, I think it's pretty good. All right, it's almost there with a torque converter automatic transmission. I mean, you have to be like, you know, really looking for it in order to be able to discern any amount of vibrations or noise or juddering, which, to be frank, I'm really struggling to pick up. Okay, so like I'm just inching along, gentle throttle pressure. This is the kind of driving conditions that that in our experience DCTs absolutely hate. But the X50 here, it doesn't feel at all uncomfortable with the situation. So I think the calibration of the engine and transmission is pretty well sorted out for these driving conditions. So more jam driving conditions, and you know, the other thing that I'm watching out for now is that as I'm inching along in traffic, you know, where a lot of times where you are braking, brake throttle, and my findings here is that the accelerator response and the brake response is sufficiently sufficiently linear that it's actually quite easy to manage in this kind of driving conditions. So right now, all I want to do is just to follow the car in front. Of course, there's the option of using the Q assist feature, but actually, why not I do that? So right now I've set the adaptive cruise control to move along at 100 kilometers per hour, and one thing that I like is that on the instrument cluster, it shows me when a car is passing by, so I can see in the instrument cluster there the image of another car next to me, you know, how far, and it shows relatively how far the car in front ahead. So that green Vera there just came into my lane, and the car automatically slowed down to accommodate for his entry, or his or her entry into my lane, right? And if this Mercedes is trying to come in, sorry, I'm testing adaptive cruise control here. Okay, so I'm going on this flyover. So as the car in front speed ahead, the X50 here picks up speed as well, and I have to say that the overall execution of this adaptive cruise control system is pretty well done. And the car in front has now pulled off quite a distance, and now we are accelerating, but ever so gently, and it's slowing down ahead of a bend. Look at this. The car actually slowed down itself ahead of a bend, and you see my leg is not moving. Damn. And there was another car that just suddenly appeared there, and the X50, reacted to it and slowed down for it. So in front is a red light, traffic's coming to a full stop. I'm not braking. Traffic's coming to a full stop. I'm not braking. And alright, brilliant. So the car in front inched ahead and I'm inching ahead too. All this for 103,000 ringgit. Now let's take all the the active cruise control assist out of the picture, and we roll around the old-fashioned way, traffic jam once again. So I have to say that the throttle, brakes, steering, very well calibrated. So you can step on the throttle gently, and the car just ambles along, in a very pleasant, very smooth fashion. Okay, so we're driving. Oh, okay. The suspension, yeah, over rough roads, you can feel it's a firm suspension setup, but it's not a harsh one. All right, and after hearing the fact that Proton actually softened this from the original setup in the Geely Binyue, I'm very worried to think how harsh the Binyue actually is. So now I'm going over brick pavement roads, and yeah, the isolation of harshness is commendable. Okay, very, very uneven terrain here, and the chassis actually maintained a good degree of composure. See, because right now I have the left wheels on brick pavement, the right wheels on tarmac. And the car's handling, it still feels rock steady. So under the X50's bonnet, this perhaps is one of the most advanced engines ever seen in a Proton car. Alright, 1.5 litre 3-cylinder engine, alright, turbocharged in the case of this flagship variant with direct injection as well. If you go for the standard, executive and premium models, it's port injection. This is a joint Geely and Volvo development. To date, it has been used in 550,000 cars worldwide. So it's not exactly new and unproven. All right, this engine has seen some action, and even at the validation phase, the development phase, Geely and Volvo, they have already put 1.9 million kilometers worth of testing into this engine. So where durability is concerned, the development team of this engine, they have done their homework here. The question now remains is refinement. As you can see, there is quite a bit of shaking here going on here as this engine is idling. And what we know is, with 3-cylinder engines, they are unbalanced by nature. And as a result, they are inherently unrefined. So car makers, when they make the conscious decision to use a 3-cylinder engine, there inevitably comes a lot of mitigating measures that they have to build into the engine in order to achieve a certain level of smoothness and refinement that consumers today expect. Not that this cannot be done now, by the way, because bear in mind, BMW used a 1.5 litre 3-cylinder engine in the F33 series not too long ago, and that same engine also is used in the i8. And also don't forget, Ford's 1-litre 3-cylinder engine was an International Engine of the Year winner many times over. So if you go back 20-30 years ago, yes, 3-cylinder engines are like, you know, for cheap K cars, but today car makers have mastered the ability to make 3-cylinder engines with the kind of refinement that easily match up to 4 cylinders. But of course, you may also ask, right, why do they not use 4 cylinders anyways? Because we are still accustomed to 1.5-litre engines typically having 4 cylinders. So why 3 cylinders? This is future-proofing on Geely and Volvo's part, because with one less cylinder, there is more space for them to accommodate hybrid components in the future. Alright, so we look at the engine bay once again. You can see that the engine sits quite centrally. You can see that under there, that's the brake booster. And they have put the ABS module down there. Alright, and in between here, the air intake travel, the battery, air intake here. Here's the fuse box, and I see some circuitry here as well. This looks to me like the engine control unit, so it's good. The sensitive electronic components are placed further away from the engine. That reduces their exposure to heat. The battery placed here is heat shielded, but still, of all the things here, it's the closest to the engine. But then again, between your ABS module, your fuse box, your ECU, the battery is the cheapest to replace, so you will have to take the heat. So coming back to the engine here, this is the direct injection version. It has dual VVT, so intake and exhaust variable valve timing. And one of the measures that they have done is that the variable valve timing system adopts what they call a non-circle design. So that is supposed to help reduce the vibrations of the engine. Further down at the basic level, the cylinder head, the block, as well as the oil pan, they are all made stiffer to help further reduce vibrations. They have also put effort to make the timing belt run more silently. They've also made the high pressure fuel pump to be of a silent design. So a lot of things, including the conrods, the crankshaft, is also optimized to reduce vibrations as much as possible. But still, there is a bit of resultant vibration here that is inevitable because of the design. But let's judge it from inside the cabin. So we come inside, and I would say it's quiet. It's pin drop quiet here. So yes, just now you saw that there was a bit of shaking of the engine, but you know, that together with the isolation done by the engine mounts, as well as all the insulation packages, that insulation materials that they've put in the car, they have managed to create a cabin that is sufficiently quiet, sufficiently serene, sufficiently refined, that inside here it feels no different from any regular 1.5 or 2-litre 4-cylinder engine. All right, it's quiet, and even on the move, there's very little in the way of unpleasant vibration or straining noises that comes from the engine bay. All right, so I think this quite emphatically tells us that where refinement is concerned, the X50 has it sorted. Now that we have the car to ourselves, let's do a more detailed walk around, and particular pay attention to what are the things that we have missed out in our previous, previous 2 encounters with the car, where it's in an enclosed environment, where where also we have the presence of other media as well. We have to give way for everybody to take their videos and pictures, right? So as you can see here, this is the flagship variant, and the flagship variant is the only one with a 2-tone color scheme. All right, if you take any other regular variants of the X50, the roof follows the color of the body. Okay, and you can see here the rear end is very aggressive. The bumper, quad exhausts, they are all real, by the way. And if you look closely, this part is unpainted plastic, but down here it's got the carbon fiber pattern here as well. So, and here also there's this fin here. Okay, and so basically they have put in a lot of funky little details into the design of this car, and the thing is this: the basic design, the proportions of the X50, it's nice, and together with all the details, it just enhances the value preposition of the car. So you can see here the side body work. Okay, you got this character lines here as well that really give the side profile the character. All right, and you can see the front end also. It's a very aggressively designed front end, and the whole look of this car, it just screams sportiness. Okay, so this being the flagship variant, of course there is the ADAS module, and you can see here, right, the front lip, it's a double layer front lip, so a very aggressive design. And here you can see the headlights is a full LED headlights, very upmarket looking headlights. Overall, this car, it just looks upmarket. So let's check out the boot. Alright, so inside here, this is, well, somebody left the car cover here. The boot is of a very modest size, but I think you can still fit 2 suitcases here. Underneath here, hidden compartment, and I think below, do they have a spare tire? Yep, there's a spare tire down there. It's a temporary spare tire, but underneath here you have these compartments as well to stow away other items. Nothing hidden behind here. You've got the boot light here. All right, so the seats offer 60/40 split folding, which you have to do it from the inside. And here you can see the seats fold down. Okay, not perfectly flat, but it's a seamless transition here. Okay, so I think what they've done here is that there's an evident decision made to prioritize seat comfort over the absolute practicality in getting a flat floor, because now that I'm seated in here, it's a very comfortable place to be in. There's enough leg room for me to cross my legs, a good thigh support, good lean angle. All right, and I'm 170 centimeters tall. I've still got 4 fingers of headroom above me. Okay, and amenities wise, you've got 2 USB ports here, so rear occupants, you got 1 port each to charge your phone, and there's also a pocket in there for you to drop your phone in there as well while you do the charging. Rear seat pockets here, rear armrest here. So under here it's rubberized, and this is removable for you to clean. And best part, check it out, the pattern here. I call this, since the days of the X70, these are artifacts of their Chinese origins. All right, so one thing you can also see, the contrast color of the upholstery. You'll see more of it in front later. I'll show you. This part also folds as well, and as you can see, the seat belt for the middle passenger is anchored into the seat back. So when you fold the seat down, you don't have this belt awkwardly impeding the folding of your seats. So down here, ISOFIX mounts here, looks quite easy to access. And overall, this is a very pleasant place to be in. Let me just show you the door card there as well. Also a design cue that originated with the X70, how the door opener, all right, it flows from this trim, and you know, and down here in sort of like a one unified appearance. Power window switch, door handle here, well, a rather minutely sized pocket there, I will have to say, but we'll fit some things in there. What surprises me a bit is that this part here is hard plastic, but it's a decent grade of hard plastic, so no complaints there. All right, so let's go and check out the front. So let's come to the front end. Now you can see here, from this angle, you can see, right, the brave color scheme that Proton opted for the dashboard. I think this is lovely to see. All right, this immediately makes the cabin look and feel more expensive, right? Just this top piece alone, right, it adds so much character to the design. And you see, the thing is that Proton could quite have easily gotten away with making this piece black or dark gray, the safe option that most car makers who spec their cars for our market would have done. But they chose to give it red, and I commend them for that, because this really makes the interior of this car special. It tops it all off, because you look at the rest of the cabin, right? This piece here together with this flare of a line. Why do they need this line? They actually don't, but they put it there anyways, and it adds flavor to the design. I mean, check out these vents. Okay, so in the middle here, there's this little depression here. Okay, and you see the appearance of this, right? It looks as if as these vents are crisscrossing and intersecting each other, but actually they are just mechanically simple. You know, these three layers of vents here, very, very simple design from a mechanical standpoint, but they add this little piece here and these pieces here as well to create the impression that they are intersecting vents. Very, very clever design. All right, you got this grab handle here as well, that sort of like emphasizes the X50's SUV positioning. Here you've got the electronic shifter, right, that was first seen in the X70 CKD, and here this tray. This is a tray that is sized just right for your mobile phones. This one here as well, but the thing is that because of the positioning of this lid, my Samsung does not go in fully. Okay, so here you can see all these compartments. They are rubberized, so when you put things here, they don't slip about. Okay, similarly here as well, underneath here, this center console box, it's a deep box but nothing in there, but there's a slot in here whereby if, let's say, like when your key fob runs out of battery, you put your key here so that, you know, the car can read the signal from the key fob and allow you to start the engine. So up here, this panel here allows me to open the sunroof. No one touch. Don't have okay lor, so I have to open lor like that. All right, I like the quality of this switch. Very, very nice. This whole panel here looks and feel lovely. Once again, this Chinese design theme here, and down here as well. Okay, let me just get down here and show you. Underneath here, there's another tray here. Now this one, I think they could have rubberized this as well, because this is where, in the case sometimes where you may put your phone here as well, or your smart tag, whatever other barang. So this part here, people also may want to keep their some of the more valuable items they want to keep here a bit away from storage. So this could have been carpeted or rubberized, just like the top piece as well. But then again, that's something that we can easily solve from the aftermarket, so that's not really a deal-breaking problem. So here, this is the touch screen. All right, you can power on and off the touch screen. There's no volume control is by button. All right, so there is no rotary knob that we are more accustomed to with other cars. And you can see here the screen as see. So the thing is that, right, with the X70, we know that the screen is the infotainment system is something that has gotten the most complaints. All right, and with this one, there is still no Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. This is an advanced infotainment system, not the smoothest infotainment system in the market, not the best in the market, but definitely I think more advanced than anything else in the segment. So down here, climate control, these rows of switches here. Okay, you got drive mode selection, Eco, Sport. Right, so let's say you can choose here Eco, or you can choose Sport. If you can press this to cancel, it just goes back to normal drive mode. Hill descent control, 360-degree camera, park assist, as well as parking sensors. This is the auto hill hold, and here there's a card slot where you can just dump your parking card, touch and go card, whatever. All right, or you can choose to insert them here or here. All right, now here you can see this is the head. These are the headlight level adjustment, instrument cluster dimmer. Traction control switch is hidden here away. And what I like here is that you see this slots, these two are your parking card slots. All right, and what I like here is that they took the little effort here. Instead of making it straight, they made it slanted this way. There's no functional purpose for doing it, but it makes it look nice. It shows that the cabin designers put in the effort, all right, to make the little details inside here feel special. I mean, look at this aircon vent, look at this tweeter here as well. Everything here, there's a touch of flair in here that makes this cabin feel special, makes this cabin feel expensive. And as we said earlier, right, when we went for the preview at Sepang, we felt that, you know, this car, all right, coming from the BMW X1 to the X50 here, feels more like an upgrade. So here, let me also show you, this is the reverse camera, 360-degree camera. Overall stitching of the images is good, seamless, easy to comprehend. Resolution is average, but not a problem. It's sufficiently clear for use. So over here in the instrument cluster, right, when I fiddle Eco, the instrument cluster changes its appearance, and when I press Sport, it shows you a tachometer. So I think this to me is a very appealing looking instrument cluster, and actually this actually feels a step up from the X70, to be honest. Right, so let's try out the X50's park assist. So I'm pressing this button here. All right, and the camera immediately shows me the image. So you can see there's the parking there. Let's just test it out. I'm selecting perpendicular parking, and you also see here, right, by default it will search for parking on the left. So it will tell you to turn right signal to search for right parking. Okay, and has it picked up the parking yet? All right, please apply the brake. Okay, long press and hold the brake, then long press the parking button. Release the brake, start parking. Okay, so my fingers are holding on to the parking button and the car is reversing. So you see, my legs are totally off the pedals. Okay, it detected that there was a car behind, it braked itself, and and itself turned the steering, and it goes again. So you see, the thing is that this feature actually taps onto already existing network of sensors and other features as well. So when I release the parking, it stops. All right, so now I want to continue. Press the parking button. Pop. So the parking is completed, and that's it, done.
Thank God that the brothers on the rise now. Endless celebrations all in my house. Levitating now, I'm super duper fly now. London boy, but DC where I reside now. Put the time in while you always yelling time out. And for quit it, cause I know I'm coming with it. You were sitting, you were wishing I was handling my business. Now I got the ball like Harry Potter playing Quidditch. And my business is humongous, you would think that happens in there. Damn man, I'm all that, yeah, I'm all that. Looking for that whip, yeah, that what you call that. I'ma blow up in the summer, have them yelling fall back. And I've always been ahead like an effing ball cap. Man, I came in the game like, whoa. Got a couple chains on me cause I like gold. They told me I'm the best and I told them I know. Cause when I'm in your town, every ticket I sold. Yeah, they saying I'm the man. Facts, bro. Lot of haters, tell me where they at though. I'm the new pop, all I do is rap though.
So in conclusion, right, the X50, you know, one thing I have to say about the X50 is that this would be the next car in Malaysia that ultimately transcends all class. So you see, this car will not just appeal to the 100,000 ringgit buyers. It will also appeal to those of them, to the rich people who are looking for a cheap second or third car, you know, alongside their Bentleys, their Rolls Royce, their Alphard, their Wellfire, to serve as a get-around car, to serve as an errands car. See, before this, the rich people, when they want to buy their supplementary car, right, the one that they want to buy not to show off, but really to do errands, to do chores, would have been cars like the Myvi, the City, the Vios, the typical B segment choices. But this one, all right, falls in just slightly higher a price bracket, but with the kind of premium features that they're accustomed to in their much higher segment cars. So with this car, it looks like it looks and feels like, you know, you are downsizing rather than downgrading when you're from that perspective. Now, of course, if you are buying this as a regular buyer, right, middle class buyer, it makes sense too, because this is overall such a fantastic value for money proposition in terms of the amount you pay versus the kit that you get, the performance that you get. It's just such an unbeatable package, and this is the car that ultimately, I would say, it renders the B segment entirely irrelevant. All right, so guys, hope you enjoyed today's video. Do remember, if our content is helpful, please help us with 2 clicks, okay? The like button, the subscribe button, and do check out the channels of my other teammates as well, Bobby, Bing, Nas, Fadil, all of them, and Chris V, Chu Yang, Thomas, Rachel, HP, everybody, okay? So yeah, go subscribe to their channels as well. All the links are in the description section below, and you can also join us in Evo Club, club.evomalaysia.com, where through us you can extend your warranty, you can renew your insurance. If you buy a used car, come to our panel of inspection centers. All right, if you are looking for a place to service your car, to repair your cars, we have a panel of trusted workshops as well that will do the job, okay? And yeah, so of course, hopefully after CMCO through Evo Club, we'll also be able to engage you guys with a whole variety of happening activities, okay, to enrich your journey of car ownership. Okay, so that's it for me today. Until my next video, cheers, take care, bye bye. All right, so right now I am driving the Proton X50 Premium, okay, and I'm going to do this little exercise. I'm just going to do car spotting from here, and I'm going to compare, right, everything else in the road, and I'm going to compare the features that this car have versus the other one. Okay, so let's begin. So now I have to cross toll first, right? Okay. So first up, we have the old Honda City.